I don't care if you're the second coming of Michael Jordan himself. If you're not available, you're not worth a hill of beans. With all that being said, here's the new problem that Mikey currently faces. You're already behind the 8 ball. His entire life, he was ahead of everybody else. He was ahead of the curve, but now the curve is slowly but surely past him. Your best ability, say it with me now, is availability. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your boy Matt is a really big basketball fan, and I've made that evidently clear on the channel from the start since day one. Love me some basketball, man, always have. Ever since I was a kid, it was my favorite sport to play. And as most of you may or may not know, March Madness, it is literally right around the corner. It's only about a week away. And when I say March Madness, let me clarify, I'm not talking about the tournament, that's a couple of weeks away, but I'm talking about the month of March. And outside of college football, that is arguably my favorite time of the year because even your casuals, they love March Madness. There's just something about it, it draws you in. You always got to fill out a bracket. Even if you don't even care about college basketball, even if you've never watched a game, everybody I was growing up with, at least in the United States, is like, I gotta fill me out a bracket. It's just something you gotta do. And I'm not gonna sit up here and hype up March Madness and tell you how great it is because come on, man, we know what it's about. In March Madness, you are guaranteed, not 99%, no, you're 100% guaranteed to see craziness and just weird stuff, to say the least. You're going to see buzzer beaters, you're going to see upsets, and you're going to see Cinderella runs, and that's what we love to see. It's human nature to want an underdog in any aspect of life to overcome adversity, and March Madness, it signifies that. But whoa, hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Okay, Matt, that's all fine and dandy, that's great, but what are we talking about? What's the point of this video? Well, I say all that to say this. I'm not one of these people that just start watching basketball at the end of February or March. I've been watching it nonstop since the start of it. And I'm seeing all these freshmen ball out, but to be more specific here, I've seen Rob Dillingham, the star point guard for Kentucky. He's been balling out the past couple of weeks. And I know they wound up losing their last game to LSU. By the way, John Calipari's a fraud, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But Rob Dillingham in that game, whew, the shots he makes, there's no guarding it. It's NBA level. And I couldn't help but think about this after the LSU game. Rob Dillingham is a star freshman, and he's been balling out, and more than likely, he's going to be what? Top 15 pick in the NBA draft? I don't keep up with the mock draft too much, but I think it's more safe to say he's going to be a first rounder. And coming out of high school, he was highly regarded, big-time recruit, but there was a player who was supposed to be even better than Dillingham and who was ranked ahead of Dillingham that is nowhere to be found. And that said player I'm referring to and talking about is no other than Mikey Williams. Ah, yes, good old Mikey Williams. No introduction needed. You know who this young man is. And when you think about it, it's kind of crazy how all this unfolded because Mikey Williams should be doing, and he was expected to do, what Rob Dillingham is currently doing. Now, I'm not trying to convince you that Mikey Williams would be playing as good as Rob Dillingham currently is, but those were his expectations. And I know for dang sure he expected that out of himself. But instead of Mikey Williams playing college basketball, thriving, and elevating his career even more and potentially making it to the NBA, like I said, nowhere to be found. It's crickets. Life comes at you fast, man, because remember in high school, who was the big-time hotshot? Mikey Williams. Well, now take a look at it. All of his peers that was in the same class as him, they surpassed him. They're the ones who are out here and actually playing basketball and getting better. And Mikey is, well, it's kind of simple. He's not. He's not playing, and this is a cold hard fact. If you're not playing, you're not getting better. And I know some people are going to say, well, Matt, I'm sure he's working out, I'm sure he's practicing. No, that's not game speed. If you're not playing in legit competition against another D1 team, you're not getting better. You can prepare all you want, but experience, you can prepare all you want, but there's nothing like having that in-game experience. And Mikey has not got that. Now, if you're wondering why he hasn't gotten that, let me explain real briefly here. I'm not going to go into heavy detail, but in this most recent summer, Mikey, he got in some legal trouble. We made a couple videos about it. If you don't know what's happening, you can go to Google, you can go watch one of the previous videos. To make an extremely long story short, he did something dumb. And fortunately, and I mean extremely fortunately, he got off the hook. There was a real deal serious conversation that this man is more than likely going to go to jail and none of that's going to happen. He's fine, at least legal-wise. As far as it goes for his basketball career, that's a different story. He's not necessarily, how do I say this, in good standings. And you may be sitting there asking, well, Matt, what do you mean? What's going on? Well, here's what's going on. He's not playing! He went to Memphis, and due to all this legal trouble, he was ineligible to play, so he had to enter the portal, and he winds up recently, the last time I heard anything about him, was he decided to transfer to UCF. And ever since that news broke, haven't heard anything about him, and let me throw this out there as well, he's not going to be playing this year. And this goes back to a saying I say all the times when these athletes, they get in trouble. your best ability in this life, not just for his athletes, but for you watching this video, your best ability, say it with me now, is availability. If any of you watching this video right now, you were to play college basketball in this current season, you would have been better than Mikey Williams. And I know what you're sitting there saying, well, Matt, I'm not athletic. I'm not that good. That's besides the point. You would have been available. Mikey was not. I don't care if you're the second coming of Michael Jordan himself. If you're not available, you're not worth a hill of beans. Mikey was not available, and essentially, there's no way to sugarcoat this, he wasted an entire year of his life. And I hate saying that because me and Mikey were cool. I know more than likely he's going to be watching this video. And shout out to you, Mikey. I'm wishing you the best of luck. You know I rock with you, bro, but I got to call things how I see it. You wasted a year. Now, here's the bright side about all of this, because I like to look at my glass half full. You're getting another chance. And I don't necessarily think leaving Memphis was a bad thing, because I thought him being there in general, it just wasn't good. The last thing Mikey needs, and y'all know this, is to be in Memphis, Tennessee. If you've ever been to Memphis, you know. That's all I'm going to say. No explanation needed. UCF, I think that's going to be better for him just so he can stay out of trouble and stay out of the way and focus on ball. Because Mikey's biggest problem is not anything on the court. He's a fantastic talent, fantastic athlete and player, etc. His biggest problem is he has so many distractions off the court. None of us can even try to relate to what he's been through. As far as it goes for a basketball player coming up in his era, he was the biggest thing since sliced bread. This guy was a multi-millionaire at the age of 16 and had millions of followers on social media. I'm not trying to sit up here and convince you it was hard for him, because now, the pressure that was on this guy, it was through the roof. People were watching his every move. But I've always believed if you're a big-time athlete, it's not that hard to stay out of trouble. With all that being said, here's the new problem that Mikey currently faces. You're already behind the 8 ball. His entire life, he was ahead of everybody else. He was ahead of the curve. But now, the curve is slowly but surely past him. Because think about it. Next year, a guy who was in the same class as him and Rob Dillingham, he's going to be in the NBA. Meanwhile, Mikey Williams is going to be in college. And I believe if Mikey would have played for Memphis this year, even if he struggled, people would have gave him the benefit of the doubt because, oh, it's his first year in college, no big deal. But the way I think this is going to go, people will not give him the benefit of the doubt next year at UCF. If he's not playing good, he's going to catch a lot of heat. And here's another thing people don't talk about enough. Your margin for error when you're trying to get to the NBA, especially when there's only 60 picks, it is beyond razor thin. You want to talk about having to cross your T's and dot all your I's, you got to do that and more. Because with the NFL, the one great thing about that is, even if you fail a drug test and have all these character flaws and concerns heading into the NFL draft, if you're super talented, teams will still take you in the 3rd or 4th round. Because it's like, why not? Super talented. If he fixes all of his flaws, it's essentially like you're getting a 1st-round pick for free. But in the NBA, with there only being 60 picks, they're not risking it on anybody. And yeah, Mikey was super athletic in high school, but he's 6'3", roughly 200 pounds. That's a dime a dozen in the NBA. Actually, you could say that's undersized. When you are comparing him to NBA athletes, he's average at best. And I'll tell you this much, I ain't seen anybody as shifty as Rob Dillingham. The way he moves with the ball, it's unguardable. And I highly doubt that Mikey Williams is going to be moving the same way next year at UCF. And here's one thing that worries me. If he doesn't ball out, and I mean completely ball out next year for UCF, his chances of making it to the NBA are going to disintegrate mightily. Because by that point in time, he's already, 20, 21? Well, these NBA teams, they've already moved on to the next star 18 and 19-year-old prospect. I tell you what, though, it's going to be interesting to see how this situation unfolds, and I'm looking forward to see Mikey play next year. I think it's going to be fun to watch. There's many more things I could say, but we'll end it off here. Let me know your thoughts down below, but